Hey, what's up, you guys? It's me from Team Apps with the first time I've actually done a podcast kind of soon after the next one. So, anyways, the topic for this podcast is basically we're just comparing the competitive tournament environment with the casual local tournament environment that you'd find at, like, I guess your local card shop or whatever. So, all the people that we have, which is Hunter, Seth, Jared, and Mason, they've all been to regionals, YCS events, Nats, all that stuff. So, like, we're just basically gonna compare, contrast, talk about like the differences in gameplay and in other aspects, like prices and stuff like that. So, um, like to start off, what do you guys think is the biggest, like the single difference that separates locals from larger events? Jason, start us off.
Locals suck. You can't get anything at all. If you're playtesting, unless you have a group of people that are just playing meta decks, you're playing against like battery man OTK kind of stuff. And like if you win at locals, it kind of doesn't matter.
Right. Uh,
I, I noticed it's really hard to move product around locals rather than regionals.
this is true too. Seth, how about you?
YC,
Like, or Hunter, what were you saying?
like YCSs have the biggest ability to move because there's just a lot of people there. But like otherwise, you just can't get you can't move a lot of good big at least big stuff around at locals.
YCSs are the biggest place to move shit ever, ever.
Seth, how about you? Like, what do you think? I mean, is just the biggest single difference between?
At like a regionals, your deck has to be more consistent because you're playing more rounds. But like at a locals, you can take Exodia and get lucky 4 rounds and go undefeated. But you can't do that at a regionals or a
Yeah, because
YCS.
people play deck devastation virus when you got 4 cards left in your deck, and the shit's hilarious.
Alan,
Yeah, Jared, how about you? Like, what's the number one difference?
The only difference is the number of people. You still have the same amount of scrubs playing. You still have people who don't know rulings. You just have more people. True, you have better competition, but you still have a lot of the same thing. You just have more volume.
Yeah, just the same ratio, just more. Um,
Yeah, basically, like there's a small percentage of the people that are actually good and know what they're doing, and then there's just a lot of scrub.
yeah, we're used to that Dragon Slayer. So I think to me personally, the biggest difference would, I mean, like I'd say I agree with Jared. I think it's the same ratio of like of bad people and good people and people who don't know stuff and all that, just in a larger volume. I think the biggest difference though is like I feel like whenever I go to a regional or YCS, like there's this competitive edge, like to people where like everybody's looking for stuff, everybody's like scoping the area, everyone's trying to like get stuff, but like at locals, it just we kind of seem to like fall into this slump of just every week just sort of go up there and
Do what we
just,
do.
yeah, just do what you do, same deck, same everyone, just like, and I guess that's and it's probably like that with all locals, but it seems like it's especially prevalent at ours. So like let's talk a bit about like meta calls, because meta calls are something that I know you need in tournaments, or most people say you do. I mean, maybe you don't. Uh, like when you go to a regional or YCS, you can logically expect to play more meta, unless you're going to Lafayette, than
Yeah.
than at your locals. So I mean, like, do you guys think that meta calls are something that you have to use when you go to these larger events, or is it like
I know there are certain people that can only play meta calls. Hint, hint. Tyler Tapman. But and there are some people
He
that just take
can't
it.
fucking play anything else.
He can only meta call, and he's really good with it, which is not bad. But whenever there's time where there isn't a meta, people like that just can't top. And you look at it as well as honestly, meta calls are just a way to kind of counteract the meta with what you're doing, and you have to know a lot what's going to be played there, and you kind of can't make that decision until about 5 minutes before you have to turn in your deck list.
it's true. Like Seth, Jared, I mean, either of you, like, just their thoughts on meta calls, is it something you have to have when you go to these bigger places, or? Whoever wants to, one or the other. I don't know.
All right. As far as the meta, it is a good indication of what you are going to play. Whenever whenever you go to an event, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to play whatever the main meta is, but it also gives you a basis of what type of decks you need to prepare against. So, and that's why a lot of rogue decks that pop up do good. Because the only thing you have to do is just make a rogue deck that can beat whatever the meta is, and you're okay.
Yeah. Unless you go to Lafayette and then face other road decks. I don't know how that works out. Anyways,
Very
yeah.
bad.
Seth, how about you? I mean, like, do you like meta calls? Do you think it's something that you have to use, or?
I think more people should not stick to certain decks, like Wind Ups and Dino Rabbit, just because everyone else uses them. I understand why they use them because they're consistent, but I think people should just kind of branch off a little bit because the format is balanced. But as for like side decking, if everyone else is using certain kind of decks, it's a smart thing to side deck against it because you're more likely to see those kinds of decks.
Yeah, like I think meta calls are good because it's like, when you get in these tournament environments, game one, you really don't want to lose it because it just puts you in a bad position. And if you use meta calls, like if you're like basically main decking your side deck sort of thing, where like, you're maining we'll say random DD Crow in some age, like I think that that's good. I mean, like I think that it's something that you need to get an edge because you don't want to lose game one. And so main decking a Thunder King or a Crow or something, like it's even like how Dino Rabbit at a time started to they started maining, what was it? Yeah,
Macrocosmos.
Macrocosmos. I think that you have
Well,
to do that kind of thing at these
I think that's
events.
why Wind Up saw less play at a certain point last format because everyone was maining Valors and Max C.
Yeah, like
And
lineups
Boca was
highest,
unbelievable.
and their prosperity comes off of what other meta stuff comes about.
Yeah, I've noticed
Like
that.
I noticed Sam Pedigo just put up a something on ARG, and like he's maining Thunder King in his 1-2 Thunder King in his Machina. It's Machina Karkuri.
Yeah, I think it's something you have to do. And speaking of, I guess, the competitive edge to things, do you think that this might sound kind of like it's getting kind of deep into it, but like, do you think that differences need to be made in, like, how you, I guess, carry yourself and how you play at these events? Because like I noticed with a lot of people that are usually a lot like, easygoing, pretty cool, kind of loud, kind of funny at locals, go to these events and um and they'll basically just kind of have to put on the poker face and everything. I mean, like, do you think that that's good? That, because I definitely noticed it. I mean, like Mason, what do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think you have to do that. And let me just say, like, nationals is easier to prepare for than the YCSs. YCSs are easier to prepare for than regionals. The simple fact that they have all of the rogue, and the higher you get up, the more meta it is. But yeah, you definitely have to put on a different persona when you go to these events, or you'll just give things away in your hand, or just make yourself easier to read. Um, yeah, things like that.
Right. I think that like a poker face is something you got to put on. I mean, like I guess I don't like to go to the degree of not being friendly, but it's definitely something that's there. Hunter, I mean, do you find yourself maybe playing differently when you go to these events, or?
I don't give a shit about locals, honestly. I just go for it, but I feel like I need to be more serious at regionals and stuff. And sometimes there's a point to where I just don't care. I've honestly only played competitively at one YCS, so I hope to do better at another one. But
Yeah, Hunter can
um,
tell all of us about his rabbit normal monster thing.
shut your mouth. I just played to have fun, honestly. Like,
Just played to have fun. He just drove a few hours to have fun.
yeah, I've done that before.
And like Seth, I mean, do you try to like carry yourself differently when you're at events, or
Like act differently at events.
yeah, like when you're playing and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, I may draw like three Gotham Z calls, but I'll set all three of them and have my poker face on like I got Tarantulas and a Mirror Force. It's just
It's just something you gotta
You
do.
gotta kind of be on the edge of an asshole, but not being an asshole.
I like that analogy. That makes sense. And Jared, like, how about you? I mean, like, do you find yourself acting differently? You not really need to.
It's yeah. I mean, I'm a lot more serious at a bigger event than I am at locals. Because locals, you don't have to take it seriously. If it's only you know, three people at your locals that you have to get past, you don't have to play serious. And if everybody else at locals knows that you're a better player, you can laugh, joke around, and they are terrified of you. So you don't have to play competitively.
So do
Whenever you
you,
go to a big event, you're playing other competitive players, so you have to be more competitive.
right. I think, just for myself, I mean, I haven't played, I guess, at our locals in a long time, but like when I went to like Dallas and stuff, I tried to be like, I guess, like for some reason, does anyone notice whenever we go to these events, that might be just because it's in Texas or whatever, there's always like a bunch of Hispanic people there and like and Asian people and like they all act and look the same.
Oh wow, she's gonna throw the racist card out there.
Well, maybe they'll thumbs down the video. Anyways,
Well, otherwise, Paul, you're a very stoic person anyway, so it doesn't really matter. You just always act that way.
like I mean, I try to like I guess I try to act like the unassuming kid when I go to these places. Like I'm like really dumb and don't quite know like exactly what's up ahead type of thing. Because I mean, like sometimes you have to do that. I find out it works. People, I mean, like I think sometimes they'll assume that I'm like not really like knowing what's going on. Um, now something else that a lot of people talk about at these big events is judges. Like some people hate them, some people love them. It's a big point for contention. So, I mean, like, do you guys think that the judges at these bigger events, like, did they have more? I mean, I guess they of course have more responsibility to get things right, but um, some people say that like it's best to avoid calling the judges at these big events, and other people say always appeal them and things like that. I mean, like Mason, just from your experience.
Oh my God. Okay. Let me bring you back to YCS Dallas. Top 32
That,
match, Hugo Sarhan. You remember? Hey, Hunter, you remember that shit? The
yeah.
uh, the Leviathan Dragon ruling. He he has a Leviathan Dragon. I do not Phoenix Chain on summon. He attacked a Phoenix Chain. The judge comes up and says, um, it will go down to 2,000. And the guy attacked it with Lagia. He said go down to 2,000, and they appealed it, and head judge overruled it. That next week, the official ruling came out and said that what the floor judge said was correct. So sometimes the head judge will get it wrong. So I mean you never know.
Yeah, I always feel like appealing is actually like puts you at like I guess a disadvantage sort of thing. I mean like because then you're just sort of
I,
forced to deal with what you get. What are you saying,
I
Hunt?
understand if it goes against you, I'd appeal it. Every in the past few months, even at nationals, I was told that Magician and Factory, if they both activated at the same time, they would go on different chains. Well, at this past weekend at Lafayette, I was apparently informed by the judge and head judge that they would go on the same chain, and you could do whatever you wanted with them. You could start.
That's what I heard too.
Wow, God
It
forbid.
fucked me over.
So it's like, so it's like
But
YCSs
it's
versus
Lafayette.
locals and regionals and stuff. Like there's always different judges and the way they rule things. So
Jared,
always be careful about what they say.
Jared,
Yeah.
remember the dark hole, and the judge said that it targeted, so you can negate it with titanium.
Oh my God, who said Darkhold targeted?
Wow,
Lafayette
really?
head judge.
The Lafayette head
Lafayette head
judge?
judge. Jared. I think it's Jared something.
Wow.
Worst
Wow.
fucking job I've ever met.
Dude, we get scrubs from D-Layer judge do better than that.
Wow, that's horrible.
D-Layer, I mean,
Yep.
oh my God, people they know Darkhold doesn't target.
And this is when I just give up hope on humanity.
You just let it go, Paul.
But like seriously, that's like do you guys think that also here's something that people talk about a lot. Do you guys think that at events people become like too on edge, too competitive? Like they'll call you for anything type of thing, or do you think that that's just something you have to
I
do?
can't
Like,
do
Nah.
that. That's just me. I can't do that to people.
In Alan's duel, some guy got rid of his head, the head of Exodia, and the guy said, "I can call you for a game loss because you have no win condition or whatever." Well, that's like BS because you don't know if he has a win condition, and if he wanted to, he could pound you in the face with the leg every turn. It was stupid, but he was trying to go call a judge.
I'd have
because
called for unsportsmanlike conduct, which is a real penalty given up by Konami.
I
he
think
didn't
that's
do it. But
interesting.
I thought that was kind of a big move, and
I remember that a personal experience at YCS Dallas. Hunter knows this by heart. Does anybody know that pro, I guess, player? What's his name? Fraser Smith. Okay,
Yeah.
so Fraser Smith is sitting right next to me in round, maybe this is like 4 or 5, and so like he's playing this guy, and Hunter says that Fraser says that the guy wasn't slow playing or whatever or what.
I don't know. I wasn't there. That's just what I heard.
Anyway, so this guy, like, they're playing, and like, I'm playing my opponent or whatever, but like in my peripheral vision, I'm kind of like hearing and seeing what's going on in the games next to me. He calls the judge over, says, "This guy's slow playing. Sit here and watch him." And then he just keeps playing like normal. Like, I mean, it's like you said, Mason. I can't do that sort of thing to people. I mean, like, I can't just like
Yeah, I
call
can't
them
just do that. I
for slow
mean,
play, and then just look them in the eye and keep on playing like as if it's all cool. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
like that. Just I can't do it. Maybe some people can.
I mean, but at the same time, if your opponent is obviously slow playing to try to go into time so he won't lose,
But this guy, I didn't
you
think he was
know,
slow playing.
who,
Like, it didn't look like.
who wants to just sit there and get dicked? And when you can call a judge to stop that from happening.
Now, I'll tell you what slow playing. Well, yeah, I mean, like, it makes sense. Like, if someone's actually slow playing, then of course. Like, in fact, does anybody remember Houston Regionals and all the slow play?
Oh,
Oh my
see,
God.
there was a
That was
lot of slow play in Houston. I'm not gonna lie. I saw Pedigo go into time almost every match. That kind of
Pedigo's
pissed
an
me
asshole.
off.
Oh my god.
Like, I'm serious.
You talk to the guy?
That regional, this guy gets, like, he's, like, going between his extra deck and, like, 2 light pulsars, knowing he had to go into exit he just kept going back and forth, looking, slowly reading the cards. I was just like, I mean, that's slow playing. I'm surprised his opponent didn't call him on that.
I mean, but at the same time, it really depends where you're at. Because for Houston, that's almost normal speed.
All right.
But if
Well,
you
I
go other
think
places, I mean, but really, everybody I played, I was playing chain burn, and I'm like, you can't respond.
okay. Well, I understand
Nothing
that.
said. Every
Uh,
player takes.
You should be like, you
okay.
can't respond with that bottomless, so it doesn't
Okay.
matter.
Like,
Just keep going.
there's one thing I look at. Like, okay, I saw this multiple times at Houston. Um, the opponent would summon a monster, set 2 back row, or no, set a back row, and go. And then the next turn, the opponent would activate heavy. He looked at his back row, and then he spent a minute and a half looking through his hand, not worrying about the back row that was about to get destroyed. And then he let the back row go, and it was a warning or something. Like, if you can't do anything about the heavy,
What are
you
you doing, Lane?
obviously
You're
don't
already
have a
green
hand
light?
trap.
I mean, I just hate it when it's like, what hand trap is going to stop the heavy storm?
That's what I'm trying to say. Like, you can't
Like,
do
I mean,
shit against that.
I doubt that you run Herald
Dude, there's only
of
one in the
green
game.
light in your, like, Machina deck. I mean,
Honestly, and you think about it, like, there's just a lot of times when there's only one possible thing to do, and you wonder why your opponent just sits there, and that kind of stuff just pisses me off.
yeah, I think it's like, I don't know. I mean, I guess and that's one of those things where I feel like how really involved can the judge get in a ruling if he didn't really see the slow play?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
Like,
the thing with slow plays because you have to think a lot of players when stuff happens, they try to figure out another plan for the next 3 turns. I can accept that if you're only doing it for about 20 seconds.
I think that when you're slow playing, like, and the judge comes over, I've seen this happen. People like to play dumb. Like, oh, why don't you tell? You know, I mean, because it's not like you can prove that they took a minute to do to do something. So I mean, like, what's like, what can you do?
I mean, I can't even slow play because unless I'm about to go through a complicated combo where I have to know everything, my plays are cut and dry. I do this, 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 done. How do you not
Like,
know what to do in like 30 seconds?
Sure.
yeah,
I think
Unless you're going through like a complicated wind up combo or like back last format, you're going through an injector combo. How do you not know what to do?
and yeah, there's a few things you can think about, like what exceed to make, like ways to combo out or things like that. But it's not going to take you 3.5 minutes just to sit there and
No,
play.
yeah,
it's
I'm thinking just these things where like people have their heavy storm, it's been played, and they're sitting there looking at their hand. I mean, that's where it get like that's when it hits the fan. Um, so I guess moving on to our next topic, has anybody like just personalities? Has anybody met annoying personalities at these events? I mean, do you think that like it kind of comes with the territory because you're going to an event, so of course you're gonna face annoying people, or I mean, like, do you think it's just people being annoying?
I
Okay,
mean,
to me, there are certain people that talk too much. There are certain people that don't talk enough. Like, people that talk too much just joke way too much, and like there's a seriousness to this game. Yeah. But there are people who are just stoic, just stare at you, they don't do anything. And it kind of creeps me out to a point.
I like annoying, creepy people. Like, I mean, the kids I meet, the kids that I meet, they're usually nice. The adults I meet, though, I have a tendency at these events to always run into like, adults that are like 30 or something years old, and they're like such dicks. Like, some of these people, like, they really don't like playing Yu-Gi-Oh. They just like winning.
I
Like,
mean,
Yep.
I don't know if this I don't know if this is a southern thing or not, but when I go to all these YCSs, I'll sit down and say how you doing and shake their hand and all that. But I've seen like, oh my god, there's like, especially up north, like nobody does that. Like Nationals, Kansas City, and some people at Dallas. Man, there's just no courtesy in this game anymore. So a lot
The
of people
thing
are
I hate the
assholes.
most is after a duel when they won't shake my hand. I can understand if I beat them if they don't shake my hand, but if they beat me and I say good game and reach my hand out and they
yeah,
just
those
walk
people,
away,
Yeah,
God, just
even if I
that
get up
like,
and
makes
leave.
me hit.
you know how I scoop? I extend my hand and shake their hand. That's how I scoop. I put my hand down and shake their hand. That's how I tell them they won every time.
Like, I was at YCS Dallas, and there was this man, and he was playing like, okay, it's annoying enough that he was playing Chainburn, but what made it worse was the fact
Hey,
that
hey,
like,
hey, 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 hey.
yeah,
Number one, ain't nothing wrong with Chainburn.
right. Let's hear this. But okay, so this dude he's playing Chainburn, but to compound that, he was trying to call me on every possible thing. Like, I looked too quickly at my deck before he like ended his turn. I guess he thought I was gonna try to draw too quickly, like to start my turn. And then like, just all of these little things, like all this stuff like, and he was like, "How many cards in your hand?" And like I was like 5, and then like he's like, "Okay, well you need to separate them more." And I was like, "Okay." Like, I mean,
Okay.
like he was like it was like because I mean he's already playing like insta win deck as it is, and he's like sitting here trying to act like I'm trying to cheat him. But whatever. I mean that's just
You were kind of playing Dark Worlds.
he was playing Burn.
Okay.
Maybe we were both playing Troll, but he was playing like Troll. I was just playing Troll. If I
Okay.
could make an analogy, I don't know. And so I guess like let's move on to more like trades and prices and things.
Mason
Because
doesn't trade at an event.
Oh my
I
god,
don't
that's the
trade.
worst thing you can do at an event,
what is your what's
especially at a
your
fucking YCS.
what's your
It
reasoning?
is
Why
fuck
why do you say don't
because
trade?
people overvalue their shit too much, and people will act like you're okay. For example, YCS Dallas. I brought my real trade binder up there where everything's hollowed out, everything's worth 30 plus some binder. A guy was like asking me how much my first bill is. I was back to 70. He said I only value it at 20. But I was asking for a ultra trend. I'm like, I'll give you 20 for it. He said it's worth 50.
There ain't no
And
way
Well,
that's Bruno's worth
do
50.
that all day. People will only give you 25% of what your card's worth. if you're selling it, but just straight up trading, you at least have to give 80% of the value of the card.
I don't know.
Damn, I sold Two Dark Smog for 45.
I think that the reasoning, like, why I wouldn't trade if I were at an event, unless it was for
Like
some
gas
obviously good deal, is just because,
exit.
like, I think if you traded it at a YCS, you know, you're never gonna get like ever see that stuff again. Like, is the main thing. And I mean, I guess that that's a kind of a newbie reason, but like, when you trade at like locals or even some regionals, when you trade, you'll still see the stuff the same day or next week if it's like locals. But if you trade at these YCSs, like the moment that trade is over, they're going straight to the vendor or like straight to the person that they were trying to get the stuff from you for. Like, you'll never see
I mean,
it
the thing with big events, everybody is being a vendor.
or trying.
Everybody is making a trade or selling or buying to make a huge profit on their end. So you don't get shit.
I mean, like, I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading is obsolete now. I mean, I think it's almost
Yeah,
better to buy the shit you want.
it's like easier to buy.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I've actually come to that conclusion because, like, trading is really just a means to an end. Everything has such a solid value. People aren't, like, I guess the appeal of trading in a card game is supposed to be you have something I want, I have something you want. We kind of have different ideas of values and what we need, so we can work something out. But now it's really just like this card is worth X, or like this card is worth this card. It's nothing, like, nothing else will happen.
There's a reason we value our things at money prices.
Yeah, exactly. It's really true. Like, because if people are valuing stuff at money to begin with, and there's no point in trading. Like, these cars are fucking currency.
But I get tired whenever people like they don't they expect to like they go up there with $20 just for their entry and they expect not to like have to try to ever pay anything else when they're looking for big shit.
I do like that when you go to the events, you can pretty much instant like sell anything. That's the one good thing. Like,
Yeah,
if you have $50 and you want to buy two Max C's like Callan did at regional, you can just walk around. Anyone got Max C's? You'll find someone in the first 20 seconds, and they'll do it, and it'll be done. And it's the same if you're trying to sell them. Like, selling Max C's, just walk around, 30 seconds, sold. That's the benefit. Like, I mean, if you want to sell, you can usually do it pretty quickly. I think trading though is where things
yeah.
get complicated. I mean,
It's no longer
It's just
trading; it's
annoying.
trolling.
I'll agree. Yeah, that's yes.
A binder is just a storage place now.
It really is like a binder's a bank. Like, that's what it is. That's what a binder is. Because like everything in that binder is really just like it's just there. Like that Max C is just a $20 bill.
Yeah, that's why it's sometimes hard or easy. Like it's very hard sometimes, but it's also very easy to get money in and out of the game. Sadly enough.
Yeah, like money. It's really just money in the form of cards. Because I mean, like people pay for like other people's food for stuff. Anyways, like, hey, give me that Max C and I'll buy you like Subway and then some other stuff. I mean, like,
Yeah, it's like going in another country and doing currency exchange. That's what it's like.
and this thing is like it's mostly only at these events too. Because I mean, at locals, I figured out that trades still can be pretty normal, pretty cool. But like at these events, it's purely a profit deal. Like,
You might as well not. If you're not looking on selling anything, you might as well not bring your binders. You're definitely not trading shit. You might just bring money and roll with it.
so
In the
so
last two regionals, I haven't broken out my binder once because I've been too busy with the tournament and nobody wants to trade. So I was like, screw it.
so let's talk a little bit about vendors. Those are fun.
Not really. Vendors piss me off, honestly.
Yeah, like why did they make you mad? I mean, just like, let's get into
Like
this.
honestly, I've noticed a lot of times where they just overprice stuff for honestly no reason, even whenever it's not hyped, and then they undervalue a lot of stuff too.
I mean,
Of like yes, they have to make a profit, but I especially notice people that are people vendors like the bowlings and stuff. Like what I want people to do is make me offers on what's in my binder. And if I make like a few dollars higher, then they're basically not even going to reply and just move on. And it's just like people need to be a little more courteous.
I think vendors at events are. I think that they're good. Like, I don't deal, I mean, like with card prices, but everything else I think they're actually really useful. Like you can usually get sleeves and like mats at a good price, and I think that they're good for that purpose. But once it comes to cards, I feel like vendors just it hits the fan because the people who have good stuff value their stuff high. The vendors want that stuff, they value it low. There can't be a happy medium, and that's
No.
where I feel like it just all kind of falls apart. I mean, Jared, like, what do you think of vendors? Like your experiences with them and stuff. I don't know. He might be away. Mason, how about you?
I mean, I don't really know what to say. I mean,
I know I'm not going to get full value for them. So
yeah.
when I look at it in that aspect, I already know something bad's going to happen. So you're already you're 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 more prepared for it. But the downside is you can't bar with a vendor.
Jared, I can't hear a word you're saying.
Yeah, you're like sort of cutting out ish. But I caught the last bit. You can't barter with a vendor. It's true. Like I mean, there's not a like a happy medium you can reach because vendors like they have a list of like a price list of how much they're paying for everything,
And they can't go over it,
and
basically.
they can't change from it. I mean, like they can. I mean, like, I guess they can do more if it means more money, but I mean, they're not going to deviate from it. And the player, I mean, players sort of will, and so it's just like,
But what confuses me is if everybody's going to act like a vendor when they buy, like, why don't prices go down? Like, if everybody's saying, oh, well, like, I've noticed at events, like, let's just say I had a big eye. Like, I valued it, let's say 15. Everybody was saying, well, we'll only buy it at 10. Well, then why doesn't the value of all big eyes go down to 10?
yeah, that's a valid question. It's Yu-Gi-Oh economics. It's not supposed to make sense.
It really doesn't.
Like, I personally think the problem comes in when it's like, okay, and I get it, but I don't get it. It's like, you bought this when Lance was super and it was like worth 15, right? Okay, so you buy this Lance for 15 from somebody. So you're like, okay, I'm gonna try to get a profit, so I'm gonna sell it uh for 16. But the other guy doesn't want to pay 16 because that means that he's paying more, he's losing $1. Like it just gets to this point where it's all about like just making or losing $1. I'm surprised. It's like Mason said. I'm surprised like trading or anything could even happen anymore. Like because everybody just wants to like take like a $5 bill and turn it into 10.
Magic. That's what we do. Magic.
I mean, like I don't know.
I'm not
Seth,
gonna,
like I mean,
I do that.
what'd you say?
I'm not gonna lie, that's what I try to do.
No, I mean, like it's smart, but when everyone's doing it, it falls apart.
I think if you're
Uh,
going to make money off the game at all, you have to begin at the beginning of the format, and you kind of have to fortune tell at the beginning of the format. Buy things that are really, really low and just wait. Just sit on stuff and just go with it. But if you try to do that in the middle of the format, you're just gonna fail it.
Yeah, especially when everything's already kind of stagnated and just reached its
Yeah.
point. You can't. But at the beginning, you gotta kind of predict. It's like investing in stock, except a lot worse. Um, and now this is gonna be like a kind of a newbie sounding question, but what would you guys say are some essential things to bring to a regional? And like being told in all honesty, like what do you guys think are some essential things to bring? Like I'm
You
gonna
a
start
only
off.
calculator.
I'm gonna start off by saying Germex. Gotta wash my hands after I touch these nasty ass people.
One thing I noticed that not a single person all day at regionals had was dice. Like I always use which I'm more comfortable using my own dice, but nobody else has them. And there's that. Like not only half the people had a way to use life to keep life points, so I had to do
Bring
that
a
shit.
pad and man, bring a pad and a pencil or something. My God.
Yeah, some people like
Like
they come in, they don't have like, and sometimes it's the most competitive people. Like they've got their Nats Worlds $300 mat or whatever, and they've got like their wind up deck or their whatever deck fully hollowed out, their Ultra Pro white sleeves and all that stuff. And they don't have like a fucking pen and paper.
No, like I use a calculator, cool, but it's a way to keep up with it. It's better than nothing.
Some people
I
don't.
see people like playing with neither of them have a way to keep up with life points. They do it in their head.
Oh,
That's
Shit's not
all the
smart.
bullshit I've ever heard in my life. I would never trust
that
that.
is how you lose. Like you're
That's how
asking
you
to get
cheat.
cheated. I think another thing that people should bring is like healthy snacks because food at these events tends to be overpriced and it's not always readily available and there's usually a line for it.
I'm fine. I don't eat.
Yeah, Mason, explain your not eating thing.
It's a ritual. It's like Campa's little shit thing. I don't eat during events. I just don't.
Yeah, but Mason, you smoke the hell out of it, so
That's
you don't need to
different.
eat.
But
I mean, like I just think you should bring your own food, even if it's snacks. Because like at YCS Dallas, you guys do remember the cheeseburger was $7, right?
I didn't eat it all YCS Dallas.
I had to. Those cheeseburgers, it was $7, and it wasn't even good.
I think I left the parking lot and got food.
Oh yeah, I came with you then. Um, I mean, Jared, like, what's something you think everyone should bring to a regional?
Calculator, dice, deck, mat, and money. Everybody
Money.
always forgets to bring money for some reason.
everybody forgets to bring money for some damn reason.
Like,
That or people bring too damn much of it.
I don't
yeah,
understand
like
that.
there's
Never,
nobody bringing
never
a
bring too
small
much.
Like,
Fucking
fuck, bring
but
$80 or something. Like 20 for entry, a little bit for food, and oh, maybe you can splurge on a card or two every so often. God.
Some
I'm not gonna call anybody's name, but everything I go to, somebody only brings $20, and that's it. I'm like, well, I'll just make money out there. You don't got shit nobody won't. At least bring some money. I'm just saying.
I
Yeah, like I noticed like I noticed a lot of times when people wanted to buy wins but they didn't have money. Like that shit happens.
what are you guys' thoughts on buying wins in these tournaments?
I am completely for it
I mean, like I know it's happened, so like Jared, what makes you in support of it?
because people pay me for wins, and
I
money
just,
Pe-
is real.
Okay,
I just,
so would you ever pay for a win?
The only time I'll do that is if it's the last tournament, of the season, and I wanted to go to nationals that bad.
Seth, how about you? I mean, like,
Then yeah,
I
but
like it.
it's still early.
I actually sold off my win in round 7 because I knew I couldn't top 24 whether or not I won the eighth one or not. But he was only X2, uh, so he actually had a chance to keep going. So I sold him my win for 10. But like I like it. If you really need that win to go to nationals and someone else already has their win or already has their Nats invite, they can make a little money if they want to. But
I,
one thing I don't like about it is like it seems like it takes some skill out of it because I don't know.
yeah,
I know
I
you
mean,
can win your way through 8 rounds, but
I think like if I'm gonna sell a win, I do want to get a decent bit for it. Like, I'm not gonna settle for anything less than 20. Like, that's just to begin with, because I mean, like, otherwise it's like, like,
well, like if it's the difference between getting your invite and not, then I can understand. But if it's like if it's early on, like round 3 or something, just deal with it and go on. And I'm honestly gonna say, if you're X2 at round 4, like I'm sorry for you. You just kind of have to deal with it and go to the next event.
I think if you're at regionals, do it. If you really need it in your late round, do it. But I don't know if I'd do it at YCS's. I just
Like only
I don't
if
know if
it's
I.
like you're on the bubble day, like
I mean,
end
I
of
don't even know
day
if I do
2.
that. I mean, that's just. I don't
Because
even
there's
think
so
anybody would
much.
sell you a win at YCS's because
That's
YCS's are
true.
YCS's.
yeah, I don't even know the people. Yeah, if they really even would. I mean, Mason, would you ever pay for a win?
I don't know. I just don't. I've never done it. I've had people pay me off, but I don't know if I was actually. I don't know
It's
if
a
I
good
would
feeling,
actually.
isn't it?
Huh?
It's a good feeling, isn't it?
Especially after I 2-0'd them.
Yeah.
That happened to me. Yeah,
um,
it's just something that happens.
so what do you guys think now are things that you should not bring to a regional? I'm gonna start by saying, don't bring shit you don't plan to trade or use or anything.
Yeah, that pisses me off.
Don't
Like,
bring your fucking girlfriend there.
Hey, guess
yes. Like,
Don't bring your fucking kids or girlfriend there.
Huh?
I mean, I'm sorry, but those are like the two things. Like, people who bring like their airplane luggage and shit. Like, and there's
Yeah,
get around the whole place, and then people who have like just
I mean, I understand if like say girlfriend comes because they want to support you, cool. But if they're just gonna like fuck up everything, then there's no point.
Oh, gotcha.
like Jared. How about you? I mean, what are some things you don't think people should bring?
I'm in Skype real quick. Hold
Body odor.
on. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, don't bring that shit.
But
That shit.
everybody seems to bring it like that shit's cool. Take a bath. Put on some fucking deodorant, people.
Yeah, I've met some like nasty looking people at these events. Like you don't even know.
I think I saw Cthulhu walking around at Little Rock one time.
I remember that shit. Never again.
I think another thing that people should not bring is like people who aren't playing. Like not even just like girlfriends or kids, but like I mean like I don't know. Like whenever you have like people who don't play and they're just there and they're kind of like fucking things up, I think that gets annoying. But I can't talk.
Dakota.
Oh, what
If
was
you have
he playing?
people that have no purpose there, I feel like should not be there. If they have zero purpose,
They're just taking up room.
yeah. Like Paul goes to get videos. Some people go to support and watch and actually kind of learn about it. But some people are just sitting there,
Have you seen the
not
people who
doing
are like
shit.
sitting there like on their 3DS or something, and like you never see them in a round? It's
Yeah,
not a girlfriend. Like it's just some dude on their 3DS or their laptop in the corner. They're not a judge. They're not a player. Just sitting there.
Can't feel. Just can't.
it just
Seth, you're
confuses
sort of
me.
cutting out.
I was just
Oh.
ran.
Um. Now, what do you guys think of like cheating at like these higher level events? I mean, at locals it's one thing, but at I guess a big event, like what do you guys'
First off,
thoughts?
that shit needs to be caught quick because people overlook it. People don't tell judges when they do see it, and that shit needs to stop. You need to tell the judge at all times if you see something. Like if you notice, if you get done like with your match and there's 15 minutes left on the clock and you notice that your opponent is still in game 1, you might need to say something to the judge about slow play. Or if you see people stacking, shit like that. It just needs to stop. And Konami should have a harder rule about some of that stuff
I think
and less rules on others.
I think that it's bad if you get cheated, but it's important to watch people. Like people, I mean, I'm sorry, but you guys know the demographic that competitive Yu-Gi-Oh players are. They're all about around the age we all are, and most of them don't really care that much about anyone but themselves. I mean, like your friends care about your like their stuff more than your stuff, and like people are gonna try to cheat you. So like, watch your deck, watch their opponent's hand, watch their like. I mean, watch them shuffle, watch match slips at the end. I mean, like, just these are things that people just don't do. But like, if you get cheated and you weren't paying attention, I can't say you didn't deserve it. Like, I mean, especially if you traveled all the way up to wherever you're going, you know. Like Mason, what do you think of cheating? I mean, do you think it's like at the it's worth being at the victim's expense or
I think if you're cheating, you should not. I mean, you should just. You don't. I don't know. It's hard to say. You don't. You're not entitled to whatever you get. I mean, if you cheat, how can you even feel good about winning if you won off a technicality? I mean, I don't.
It's abusing the system in bad ways.
I mean, that's like saying paying people to win is good entirely.
I don't know. Like it's all different in the way that people feel about it, and morals goes along with it.
And which something that I feel Yu-Gi-Oh is sorely lacking. Like most
Very.
people in Yu-Gi-Oh do not care, and like as bad as that is, it's true.
It's too true.
Jared, like, what about you? I mean, do you think that if you get cheated, it's just kind of your fault, or do you think it's, you know?
Oh God, that's a hard question to answer. Um, yes, cheating is bad, and can y'all hear me first of all?
Yeah, yeah, you're all
Yeah.
good.
Okay. Yeah, cheating's pretty fucked up. Nobody deserves to be cheated, but
Now his voice starts fucking up. Is even Jared? You there? Question mark?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, hear
Yeah, now, yeah, it's pretty good now.
It's pretty bad.
me? Going in and out. But anyway, um, it goes both ways because my thing with cheating, it needs to be dealt with when it happens. 30, an hour doesn't need to go by and then it gets brought up. And I see this a lot of locals. Somebody will get cheated and they'll bring it up after the tournament's over with. Hey, well, he cheated me round one. That was 7 rounds ago.
That's
What do you
nice.
honestly expect me to do about it? And I mean, but realistically, especially when you know it's happened, when somebody tells you, it needs to be addressed at that point. And a lot of people try to wait till until they get messed over and wait till the next round to try to make it more in their favor.
Right. Yeah. Do you guys, something I just thought of, do you guys think that if you spot cheating, like if you're sitting next to people and you see some sort of cheating going on, is it like, should you report it? Is that like your responsibility, or should you not really care? I mean, it's not your business. Hunter, would
Uh,
you?
I've actually seen Julia talk about this, and a few other judges talk about this. Basically, what the rule is if you see people cheating, you're not if you're not a judge, you're not technically allowed to talk in their match, but you are allowed to tell a judge, and a judge can intervene. So if a judge sees cheating happening, or even like what happened to me is if it's too far in the head in the game state to repair it, like random things like this, judges are allowed to intervene and say something about it. And I think they should take care of it. But I think it should be taken care of right then and there.
I mean, yeah, I agree. Mason, like, do you think that if you're sitting beside someone and you see the cheating going on, that it's sort of your responsibility to say anything, or?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think you should say something. Well, I mean, by the policy, you can't really say anything because you'll get in trouble too, which is stupid. But I think you should intervene somehow, and just it needs to be fair, and you need to make it fair by telling a judge or something.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think if I see something, I'm gonna say it because like it's an event, and like, when it gets that competitive, that sort of thing should just be cut out whenever it's possible. Jared, like, what I was asking was, like, if you're sitting beside a table and you see cheating of any kind, like any like whether it's in the game or like a mat slip or just any sort of cheating, I mean, do you feel like you should say something, or like?
Yeah, I mean, and something definitely should be said. If you notice somebody cheating, something needs to be said immediately. And that's the whole issue with cheating. A lot of people feel that it's not their issue to worry about. Well, I'm not being cheated, so I'm not going to say anything.
Right, yeah, and so I think we can all sort of agree you really should say something. I mean, like, because cheating is wrong whether you got cheated, you cheated, the other person cheated someone else. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Like, it's not supposed to happen. Um, so hey, look, we're nearly done, and it hasn't been an hour. So, to wrap this up, are there any like things that I've missed about, I guess, these events that maybe we should talk about? I mean, like, I don't know. You guys go to more than I do, so.
Slow playing is the key. Okay, don't let them do it. That is the top thing.
Oh yeah, so with that being said, Mason and everybody else, you had to give one like just word of advice, not a single word, but like one bit of advice to somebody who's about to go to their first event, and you could give them like one tip. What would it be?
Don't just pick up a deck and play at an event. Play test it a lot because I did fairly well at Houston. It's just the slow playing happened and all that, and I just lost out. Houston, I played a deck I never played before, and Bo took my wind up deck, which he's never learned the loops or anything like that. He got destroyed, and I lost out like around 7. But don't just pick up a deck and go to an event.
Jared, how about you? I mean, like, what would you say to someone going to their very first event?
Take a bath, put on deodorant.
Everything else is inferior. Um, I think if I had to tell someone something, I would say keep your eyes open to everything, like to what
Put your
people are.
deck in your pocket.
Yeah,
That's
I
what I
mean,
do at every event. I even do that at locals.
just like watch what everyone else is playing, watch your opponents, just watch everything. Like, just keep your eyes open. I mean, if it's your first event, you want to learn as much as possible. So just look around, like scope the place out, watch your opponent while you play, watch your stuff. It everything, you know. So yeah, like, am I missing anything else about these events, Jared? Anything to talk about?
No.
Yes, so we finished in our target time, which was under an hour. So Hunter had to go and Seth had to go, but they were in it. So that concludes this podcast about big events versus small events. Remember, audience that's maybe watching, maybe not, leave suggestions for future podcasts in the description and leave your thoughts about like some of your memorable experiences, good or bad, at these events. Tell us about them. Leave video responses. I won't watch them, but leave them anyways. Just kidding. So yeah, this was me with Mason, Jared, Seth, and Hunter. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thumbs up, subscribe, do all the cool things you would do. And you can download this. There will be a download link in the description. And that'll be all, folks.